You know that feeling, right? You're in a conversation and suddenly your mind just goes completely blank. Yeah, you are definitely not alone. So today, we're going to unpack a super simple but really powerful guide to mastering conversation. We're talking about how to make sure you never run out of things to say again. All right, let's dive in.
Oh man, we've all been there. It's that awful, sinking feeling in your gut when the conversation just stops. Dead. The energy just vanishes from the room and you're left scrambling, trying to find anything to say to fill the void. It's a totally universal fear, and believe it or not, it has a name.
Yep, the awkward silence. It's this fear that can be so paralyzing, right? It can actually make us avoid talking to new people altogether. But here's a thought. What if the real problem isn't that you don't have anything to say, but something else is going on entirely? And that brings us to the real problem here. See, the root cause isn't a blank mind, it's actually a mental habit, a really overactive internal filter that's holding you back. So the first step to beating this thing is to really understand what it is and how it works.
So here's the thing you have to get. You absolutely do have things to say. Your brain is constantly making observations. It's a nonstop stream of thoughts. But this internal filter, it acts like a super strict bouncer at an exclusive club. It stands at the door to your mouth and turns away almost every single thought because it decides it's not cool enough or smart enough or funny enough to get in.
And this comparison just lays it all out perfectly. On the left, you've got that overthinking, self-judging mind, right? Always asking, is this good enough? But on the right, it's just simple, genuine observations. Hey, that's a cool jacket. This music reminds me of something. See, the unfiltered thoughts aren't trying to be impressive. They're just present. They're engaged with what's happening right now.
So what's the solution? Well, it almost sounds too simple to be true, but it's this. You have to stop filtering. You just say what's on your mind. You have to practice turning that bouncer off duty. Give yourself permission to say this simple thing, the random thought, whatever just pops into your head. And here's the secret. Everyone else is so worried about their own internal filter, they barely have time to judge yours. Okay, so you've turned off your filter. Awesome. But now what? This is where a really cool technique comes into play. It's called threading, and it's like a secret weapon for conversations. It's a super simple way to grab onto a single sentence and just keep the momentum going. Keep it flowing.
All right, let's run a little scenario. Imagine someone says this to you. I went to London last year to intern for 6 months. Now, a filtered mind might hear that and just panic, thinking, okay, dead end. What do I say to that? But to someone who knows about threading, oh, that sentence is an absolute goldmine.
And here's exactly how you do it. You look for the threads in that sentence. See? Every keyword, London, internship, 6 months, is like a little hook you can grab onto. You could ask about the city, or you could ask about the job, or what it was like living there for that long. You can even relate it back to yourself like, wow, I've always wanted to go to London. You just pick one of those threads and give it a little pull. And bam, suddenly you've got like 4 different ways to keep talking.
Okay, now we get to what I think is a real superpower. It's a psychological principle that ties everything we've talked about together. And honestly, it's going to completely flip the way you think about saying something dumb or silly.
It's called the pratfall effect. And get this, psychological research shows that your likability actually increases when you're not perfect. You heard that right. When you show a small, harmless imperfection, people don't judge you for it. They actually connect with you more. They see you as more human, more relatable, and yeah, even more trustworthy.
Think about it. Perfection is intimidating, right? It puts up a wall. But imperfection, that's human. Making a harmless little mistake, telling a slightly goofy story, that makes you real. And being real is what connection is all about. So how do you actually put this into practice? It's pretty simple. You could admit to a small, safe mistake you made, or share a harmless, kind of goofy story about yourself. The whole point is to not try so hard to seem flawless all the time. But, and this is important, context is everything. This is a great tool for making friends, but maybe don't try it out in a job interview with your future boss. Just a little tip.
All right, so we've got our 3 big ideas. Turn off the filter, use threading to find topics, and use the pratfall effect to be more likable. Each one is powerful on its own, but the real magic, the absolute game changer, is when you see how they all work together to create this amazing positive feedback loop, like a flywheel.
Okay, look at how this cycle works. It's beautiful. Step 1, you stop filtering your thoughts. Because you're not filtering, you eventually say something that's maybe a little imperfect or goofy. And that triggers the pratfall effect, which makes people like you more. Because they feel more comfortable around you, they start to open up more.
And what happens when they open up? They give you more conversation threads to pull on, which makes it even easier to keep the conversation flowing. See? It just feeds itself.
And this quote really just sums it all up, doesn't it? You shouldn't get stuck inside your head thinking the world will end if you say something silly. It won't. It's so true. The fear we build up in our heads is always, always worse than the reality. Most people are just too caught up in their own stuff to even notice. And in fact, like we've seen, those little imperfections might be the very thing that makes them want to connect with you.
So maybe that's the real secret here. What if great conversation, what if real connection isn't about finding the absolute perfect thing to say? What if it's just about being willing to say the next thing? It's about participation, not perfection. So let go of trying to find that perfect witty line. Just focus on keeping the ball in the air. Now go out there and have a conversation.